Hey, I'm back. I know it's been a bit since I did an actual album review, but took a bit of a time off from my own mental health and/or I just, sometimes you need a break. Any case though, I'm doing catch up on 3 albums this week that I think are very important that get reviewed, basically, for a lot of reasons. One of which is because, as a music fan, you know these bands, you just do. So the first of which, Coheed and Cambria. Got the new album right here. Bam. Right? The new one, The Color Before the Sun. And before we get into this, I don't want you to freak out, Coheed fans. This is nothing to do with the Armory Wars. I know, I'm sorry. You're just going to have to wait. The Armory Wars are actually on hold for this album, and that's the first time that, as far as I know, this band has ever done that. But, look, Shiny, forget about the dangerous nature of no Armory Wars. And just try to embrace the fact that they're trying to do a new thing. Hopefully it's temporary, but you don't know. So, let's jump into some history on the band Coheed and Cambria. Coheed and Cambria are actually an American progressive rock band from New York, in Nyack. They were formed in '95 with Claudio Sanchez on lead vocal and guitar, Travis Stever on guitar and backing vocals, Josh Eppert on drums and keyboards, and Zach Cooper on bass. They incorporate progressive rock, heavy metal, and post-hardcore. In '95, after the split of Claudio and Travis's band Toxic Parents, they formed a new band with Nate Kelly called Beautiful Loser. The band featured several Stever on vocals and guitars and Sanchez on guitar. After that, they incorporated Joe Carlo on bass, and the group was short-lived. Following that, an argument over gas money, the band split. Their trio that came out of that was named Shambut, a word taken from an African tribe that means naked prey. They spent nearly a year experimenting with a multitude of different styles. From there, when Carlo left the band in '96, they recruited Michael Todd. Todd was primary guitarist on that from there, and they released their first studio demo of '99, Plan to Take Over the World. This was also called the Penelope EP. After that, they left. In late '99, Josh Eppert, the drummer for there, replaced him, and they went on to release Delirium Trigger in 2000, still featuring Kelly on drums and Eppert on the liner notes. From here, we get to the Armory Wars. Well known. The Armory Wars, if you don't know anything about them, are graphic novels that the actual music is based as the music background to. The stories themselves are separate, and the music is actually as like a driving point of the stories. So, it's a really cool thing that this is the only band that I know that does this. That's why it's such a big deal with fans, because they're really kind of the only band like this. Delirium Trigger from there was the science fiction comics The Armory Wars, originally called The Bag Online Adventures, which was renamed, obviously. It was developed after a trip in '98 to Paris, where the band members decided to rename themselves Coheed and Cambria. After the 2 story protagonists, they had developed the concept for the story that would unify their future albums. The side project also created Coheed's official logo and the key artwork. From there, they went on to second stage Turbine Blade in 2002 on Equal Vision Records, and they got to be a huge influence on touring with At the Drive-In. They first released guest appearance from Dr. No of the post-hardcore band Bad Brains. Sad that actually that guy was really in bad condition this year. Dr. No from Bad Brains was in critical condition. Hope he gets better. From there, they made huge success opening for bands like Linkin Park, The Used, and Slipknot. After that, they put In Keeping in 2003, In Keeping Silent Earth 3 came out. Huge, big thing for them because that's the one where everyone knows. That's the one where they have, of course, the big famous Welcome Home. And that's Welcome Home is the one that any casual fan would know, but there's a lot more to it. From there, they went on to Good Apollo, I'm Burning in 2005, and after that, we get a little bit of a departure. No World for Tomorrow comes out, and that's considered the last of the classic era albums. And we get to the one album that even the fans admit was a little bit dropped, which is The Year of the Black Rainbow. And from there, their big ascent back up with the Afterman. There was a huge lineup change from that, and we get to the newest album here, all these years later, Color of the Sun. Sorry, go in depth on research on history some more, but it takes a lot of time. These guys have been around a long time. So, I have a nice little write-up here for Coheed and Cambria. The reason this band is a very important band is because every one of my friends, a lot of them that are huge music nerds and music lovers, this is their favorite band. It's like you start to realize how many people that have in common that are the favorite band is Coheed and Cambria, and you're like, wow, there's got to be a reason for that. And it is because they're awesome. That's just it. They're a really good band, and they've got a really good style, and they're so unique in every way. Their first album, again, without the Armory Wars, and that's the theme for the album. It's instead about personal issues of the band. It's a step back, but it's not quite the Black Rainbow, so don't think about it as a step in the wrong direction. It's, I don't know, they made their big comeback with Afterman, so we can think of this as a step forward. The opener, Island, is like the opener of many albums in the past. It's an epic prog classic that achieves that huge start with melodic guitar line and the chorus of Get Off the Island Now. It's an insanely catchy song with a great, huge sing-along chorus. I dare you to get it out of your head after you hear it. It just gets stuck. It's a straightforward, catchy rock song. It's definitely an album highlight. They know how to open albums. Number 2, Eraser, quickly reminds you that this is, a melodic rock, and they know how to fire up more intense and angry sound. With Claudio here screaming in the background, how many times must I save you from yourself? But the anger fades as they fall into more standard prog rock rhythm sound. The relationship strife here, it's annoying to him, but it's not dire, you can tell that. The next song on here is Colors. We find ourselves in a very familiar spot that we've been on past Coheed albums, and it's not a bad thing at all. It's in fact a standard staple of a Coheed album. They lead in with a quiet lead-in to a huge explosive expanding chorus. It's a lighter song, but it's fun and it's very catchy, and I dare you not to sing along. It's easily going to be a fun live staple and a highlight on the album for sure. Here we get to our first, I think, faltering point of the album, Here to Mars. It's a new one. It serves as an album ballad. Don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful song with strong vocals, but I think this is kind of what I think about like the later Muse ballads. The lyrics are so cliched and shallow, and I think that Claudio has written so many better romantic ballads in the past. It just feels a little bit... something's off here, to me, personally. Maybe it's that they don't have the epic grand scale of the Armory Wars to write about, but I don't know. Next one we get to is Ghost. It started quietly on acoustic guitars and low vocals. The song is a ballad. Yeah, I think it's the ballad that you wanted from them on this. It's a very stripped-down ballad with a lower range from Claudio. It's about how he wants to teach others the lessons he's learned from losing his friends to drugs and death, and just, it's a very haunting song about how beautiful and fragile life is. It's a highlight of the album, I think. This is what Here to Mars should have been. Next is Atlas. It opens quickly, loudly, putting the ballads behind them. It's a pretty solid standard prog rock song that they excel at. It doesn't stick out, but it also doesn't take away anything from the album. It's written about a lover being driven back to his love and fate and love itself. I don't know. It's a very romantic album overall, if you hadn't noticed. It's not an Armory Wars album, so it's not as, romantic. If you go back and listen to some of the Armory Wars tracks, the ones you really like The Devil in Jersey City, and look at the Armory Wars, you realize how really just depressing the subject matter is on those songs. From next on this one is Young Love. It's another softer, more pop-punk song. It's about failed young love, if you hadn't guessed. The song doesn't do much for me, honestly. I think it gets a little too cliched and cheesy. It's a couple of romantic moments in songs like this. The next one is You Got Spirit, Kid. It's a very fun song. It jumps straight into the pop-punk vibe in a way I don't think they've done before. They've been teasing it a little bit throughout the album, but this one does it better because they just fully embrace it instead of just hinting at it. It's the happiest and poppiest song I think they've ever written, but it's not annoying, and it's just fun. It's more upbeat than I've heard them before. The next one is The Audience. A very big change, but a welcome one. This song is the loudest and largest prog rock song on the album. It's an album where Claudio addresses his audience directly as a singer to the crowd. This song is huge, loud, and it's great. I can't even describe it. It's one of those prog epics. It's hard to truly describe why it's so powerful. I love that this song comes near the end of the album to remind you that they still make prog rock epics, even without the Armory Wars. It's definitely an album highlight, and I think this song is my personal favorite, as well as the one to come after it. Those two, the ending bookcases, are the ones that really are the meat of this album to me. As the closer, Peace Up to the Mountain. Peace to the Mountain is the closer that starts quietly with some very poetic thoughts about him finding inner peace, and the song shows so perfectly how this band has been able to grow into adults. It's the kind of music that even grown people that experience music on a daily basis can learn to love and be happy with, and it can make you smile, it can make you cry. It's the kind of reason you understand why this band means so much to so many people. It's a huge song. Honestly, it puts all the romantic cliches back out of your mind, but when you're reviewing the album, you gotta talk about it. But this song really puts it past, because you really get to hear how beautifully the lyrics are done on this song. It's one of the things, I don't know, I really get driven to this song as the kind of like lyric, poetic message that the album overall has been lacking. The final two songs, back-to-back, bookmark everything you need to know about this album and this band as a whole. We are Coheed and Cambria, we make huge prog rock epics and beautiful ballads so well written that can make a grown-ass adult cry. I think it made me change my mind on the album as a whole on these final two came in. These are two of my favorites, obviously, but it really churned the album around. It's a mixed bag, let's be honest. Its strides, though, it really hits them. It hits them hard. There are times when I thought without the Armory Wars, without the greater picture and the huge moments behind them, that they lose those stories that make them so interesting and they go into cheesy, cliched territory. I feel like we see the best and worst of that here at this point. The album, it's solid. It's not perfect, but it's a great entry that fans of hardcore fans will appreciate. It's a good collection, and casual fans won't notice it because it doesn't have Welcome Home on it, so it doesn't really matter. It's for a real Coheed fan, what can I say? And I think all that said, it's a good album. I speak for every Coheed fan when I say when the next Armory War themed album will come out. Just please, soon. Recommended songs, Island, Ghost, The Audience, and Peace to the Mountain. If anything, just the last two. You have to hear the last two. 3.5 out of 5 stars, I think. Thank you for listening.